Now, it has been a monumental few years in politics, hasn't it? Both in the UK and abroad. And one man who may be able to make a bit more sense of what's happening right now is the broadcaster and comedian Matt Chorley.
That's a challenge. Yeah, his new show on BBC Radio 5 Live launches next week and aims to make the conversation around politics more accessible, Matt. Hi.
Morning.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
To make it relevant to our everyday lives.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of the way that people talk about politics, because it's like any industry. Anyone who's got a job, they have, jargon, shortcuts they use in work. And the problem is that when politicians and political journalists use it, sometimes it can be a bit, well, what's a SPAD, what's a Mandarin, what's lobby, all of that sort of stuff. So what I really want to do is use this new show I'm going to be right in the heart of Westminster. I'm doing the show from Westminster every day. But to bring people in and explain what's going on. So if people say, oh, politics isn't for me, politics is everything. How much it costs to fill up your car, how much your fish and chips cost, how much mortgage you're paying, can you get your kids into school? All of that is politics. So I just want to be able to explain it, but have some fun as well.
Because I wonder sometimes if we approach politics in this country in the way that, it's a club that some people are in and some people really aren't.
It's weird. People say I don't do politics like they don't do cricket. It's fine. Loads of people are into cricket. It's fine to go through life not thinking about cricket. I think you should occasionally think about politics. I think maybe the problem is, particularly COVID, where politics became literally a matter of life and death, and everyone was watching those press conferences. And I think people got a bit weary about, I've just had enough of it. I want it to recede. And then some of the Tory psychodrama stuff as well. It was just really in your face. And people want it to recede a little bit and not weigh, perhaps, quite so heavily on us.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people forget, don't they, about how involved those decisions will be in their everyday lives, because it's absolutely about what they earn, what they pay in taxes, the hospitals, the roads, the schools, all of that sort of stuff. And I suppose getting people to understand it is also about involvement. If you understand it, you're more likely to be active in politics.
Yeah, and the great thing, there are obviously loads of political podcasts, and that is lovely, but the great thing about being live on the radio is that people can get in touch. They can text in, they can call in, and so I really don't understand why at PMQs they're constantly bobbing up and down, or why, when you ask someone a question, they don't give you an answer. Somebody's already got in touch with me and said, can you answer the question, why are special advisors, the spin doctors, so young? We'll definitely try and get to the bottom of that.
That's a good question. Why are they so young?
Basically, because it's a miserable job. You're up all night. You're up early before your minister. You go to bed after it's a miserable job, so you do it when you're young, and then you might grow up and go do something else. But that's the sort of thing we want to try, being able to react in real time to what is happening, but also those questions and the input from listeners.
So the show starts, September, doesn't it?
Yeah, Monday. Yeah. Monday, 2 o'clock.
Oh, my gosh, is that September already? And that's, because we've had this sort of slightly weird bit over the summer, haven't we? We had the election, and then we know the Conservatives don't have a new leader yet. That's all got to happen. There's this kind of been weird period where not much has happened, and it's all back to school again in September.
It's very much back to school next week. So you're right, we had the election and then all the pomp of the state opening and the MPs swearing in, and they all sort of went off on a holiday, and I think the government hoped they'd have a nice quiet break. Yeah. Obviously, the riots, slightly put paid to that. Keir Starmer this week clearly tried to get back on to, his term's big speech in the Garden of Downing Street. Yesterday he's in Berlin and he's going to Paris, and that's the sort of thing that Prime Minister does. But politics is back in a big way next week. The government starts introducing legislation. The Tories start whittling down their leadership contenders. And then we've got party conferences, so I'll get to go to the seaside. And then just over the horizon, the US election, which will be, whatever happens, will be absolutely massive. So,
in terms of timing, this is pretty much perfect, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it's about to get properly interesting.
Yeah, and I think now the election's out of the way, and the other thing is there were so many new MPs. I've been in Westminster for 20 years almost. I was 8 when I started, and and so I got to know an awful lot of them, and I've literally seen them almost go from backbench MPs to Prime Minister and then out the door again. Now there were so many new MPs, and getting to know, and there's obviously the Labour and the Conservative Party with a big group of Lib Dems now. What happens with reform and the SNP and all of that? It's just there's a lot sort of going on.
The thing that fascinates me about new MPs as well is that obviously someone goes into politics, I would hope, for all the right reasons. They go in, wanting to make a difference in their community. At what point do you sort of get into the system where you realise it's all about horse trading? I'll vote for your thing if you vote for my thing, and I really believe in this, but I can't get it over the line without voting for your thing. The moment that they realise that's part of the deal.
Yeah, and the interesting thing will be there are people who are MPs now who did not expect to be MPs
Yeah.
because they put their names down in seats where there were 20, 30,000 majorities for the Conservatives. And they are now, they put their names down. And I've spoken to some of them, and they were, I don't know, doctors or they were teachers or, they did this on the side. They were a bit interested in politics. They're local parties. It's fine.
They're surprised by the fact that they won.
Yeah. And now they're in the... And actually, that makes it really interesting. There are a lot of people with interesting backstories, whether it's Olympic rowers or GPs or, people who maybe weren't doing this thinking they were going to get in, and how that plays out and how they enjoy life in the Westminster Village will be really interesting.
So 2 till 4?
2 till 4.
Monday to Friday?
Monday to Friday.
Tell us about lunch plans. We were just discussing how you plan your day.
I'm a big fan of lunch. I mean, I will still eat.
Political reporters very often
Very
are.
important to sit down and... although, to be honest, one of the changes since I've been covering politics is there's much less drinking than there was.
OK.
You could take a cabinet minister out and sometimes have 2 bottles of wine over lunch. That doesn't happen.
Well, you can do it after
you
the
might
show
have 2
now,
fizzy
not
waters
before.
now. Yeah, exactly. After the show will be
That's
fine.
more important.
I will not be drinking 2 bottles of wine before I go on air. That's a promise.
Good.
And on that promise, thank you.
Good luck, Matt. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Matt.